Howdy folks, this is BelGeode and we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator World Update 9, and this is a test. So yeah, this is one of the chill videos, and as you know, the disclaimers should be popping up at the bottom now. The chill videos are basically meant to be raw footage with very minimal editing, and typically I use them to showcase or preview aircraft or scenery that are coming out. Now, full disclosure, this one is not quite a preview. This aircraft is already out. This one is called the Hondajet, or the H-420. Yeah, I can hear the blaze it in the comments right now. But yeah, the Hondajet is by FlightFX, and actually the developer who made it, I'm sure I'm going to butcher your name, is Marwan, what is your last name? Gharib, or something along those lines. I'm sorry if I've just butchered your name. But he did a spectacular job as a one-man show in creating this bird. This is his first aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I dare say he did a pretty stunning job on this. Is it perfect? No, but then nothing really is. And for a first aircraft, I gotta give him mad props, especially this particular livery, which is like a pearlescent green. I love this stuff where it kind of goes between green and purple. Just awesome. This is the perfect livery right here. Chef kiss on that one. Mwah. All right, but we are back in one of my favorite places to fly, Papua New Guinea. In particular, we are at Nadzab Airport, and we're going to be flying from Nadzab southeast to Port Moresby, which is one of the largest cities on the southern side of Papua New Guinea, really close to Australia. So yeah, it should be about a 1-hour flight. Expect the video to be maybe a little bit longer than that, because you know me, I like to show you all the various extra stuff before we actually take off. But suffice to say, this bird is really intuitive and really easy to use, which is good considering the fact that Marwan forgot to put in a manual with this bird. Hopefully it's coming soon. I'm sure that there's probably update patches coming. But yeah, if you're trying to figure this one out, you may want to check on YouTube. Now, I, of course, am going to do a cold and dark start, so I will show you how ridiculously easy it is to start this plane. But first, I want to kind of show off some of the features that he's got in here. So we've got the luggage compartment for the front, and as you can see, you can fit a fair amount of suitcases in here. And there is also a luggage compartment in the back. You can see the open door there. We'll actually head over that side there. We'll take a look at it. And apologies if the video is a little stuttery. Like I said, the disclaimer should have already popped up at the bottom. I am using OpenXR, but I'm still trying to figure out OpenXR to try and get ideal settings for my Rift S. A lot of the times when I see OpenXR discussed, it's with the HB Reverb G2 and all of that good jazz, which I don't have, but I'm using it with a Rift S, so hopefully that'll help. So this is our back cargo compartment here. Looks like a fair amount of size. Obviously, you're not going to carry a whole heck of a lot of people in here, but at least we've got space for their luggage, so that works. And their trademark engines on pylons. Look at the discoloration in here. Look at that. You don't see stuff like that. That's just awesome. Well done, well done. It's like that prismatic effect there. But yeah, this aircraft is really sweet looking from top to bottom. Everything about this thing is just impressive. And as you can see, we even have a little GPU unit over here that kind of reminds me a little bit of Aerobasque aircraft from X-Plane 11. Typically that's where we would see this type of GPU unit, but suffice to say, it fits with this bird, so I'm not going to complain about that at all. It actually works. It really works. And that's the hum that you're hearing right now. I have turned the audio down a little bit in the sim because it can get a little bit loud, but I have no idea what the resulting video is going to sound like since I've also turned down the audio in my headset. All right, But let's take a look at the interior of the aircraft, and I'll tell you right off the bat the one thing that I think is a huge area of opportunity for this bird. Well, I can probably give you a teaser on that right now. There's no luggage in the luggage compartments, and I do have weight set in the aircraft for both luggage compartments, so we should technically have little models of the luggage in there. However, that is not implemented. But again, this is this gentleman's very first aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm sure it was a pretty hefty learning experience, so I'm not going to get too harsh on him here. Let me kind of duck my head in. Okay, well, this definitely feels like I would expect a Hondajet to feel. It is cramped. It is very cramped. One thing I will say, and this is more of a Microsoft Flight Simulator thing, the world scale does feel a little bit off in VR. So to me, these seats seem a little tinier, but that's part of the reason why I'm using OpenXR. You can change the world scale in OpenXR to make things look a little bit bigger, and I have adjusted it to about 110% size, just to make these seats look more human-sized rather than toddler-sized. And it works. It actually does look pretty cool to me. And because my head is like right here, I'm physically bending down just to make sure I don't hit anything here. I think there is a bathroom back here. Go back. Yep, there sure is. There's our toilet. There's our sink. Pretty cool. And there's even a mirror, which of course does not reflect you, but it reflects just about everything else. So pretty neat stuff. And we could even sit back here if we wanted to. And that would be neat as well. Alright, so that is the cabin, and the thing that I really say is an area of opportunity is the fact that there are no human models at all. Now, if you recall my previous video with the Milviz 310, that was one of the things that I praised Milviz about, was the fact that not only do they have human models, but they've got interchangeable human models. Depending on how much weight you have in each seat determines which model you're going to see. I think that should be the standard now. I really do think that should be the standard for all aircraft. We should be able to see human models. There are plenty of models out there, whether freeware or pairware, that developers can add to aircraft, and I would love to see this one have, you know, maybe people in business suits and stuff like that in each seat, depending on how much weight we have in the seat. And I'll show you the weight and payload window in the cockpit in a moment here. But that is a huge area of opportunity, and we're also missing our Asobo pilot and co-pilot. As you know, I like to fly around with Kara, my virtual co-pilot, and she is not in this plane. In fact, I am not in this plane, so it pretty much feels like we're flying in a ghost aircraft here. But again, if that's the worst thing that I can complain about this aircraft, then I would say this bird is doing pretty dang good, because everything else about it is pretty sweet. Alright, now before we hop into the cockpit and get started on our journey, let me take you through the external camera views as I like to do, and I will describe each static camera view for you. So first things first, we have our regular behind the aircraft view. Pretty straightforward, pretty stock standard, so you're looking forward from the back of the plane. I do feel like it's a little too high and not far enough back, and it's pointed too far down. But, you know, that's stuff that I can change in the cameras.cfg. But it does what it's supposed to do, so if you want to take a look at the ground below you and have a nice cinematic shot of the aircraft flying over, this is the view for you. And then we've got the port side wing view, so as you can see, we're sat on the wing, and if we want to, we can do our controls wipeout. So there's our ailerons there, we'll look at the T-tail in the back, and there's our elevator, and we'll do rudders as well. So yeah, pretty cool. We can confirm that the control surfaces do work, and we can set the flaps as well to either half or landing, but we won't do that just yet, not until we're ready to start up. And then we have the starboard side view, so you can see our little GPU unit there. It's humming away nicely, and it's plugged into the aircraft, so the lights are flashing. Not much to say about this one. It's pretty cool. It's pretty stock standard. I enjoy that. You can see the little emergency exit there as well. And now we come to my absolute favorite view. I love this one. I lovingly call it the Belgio Landing Cam because whenever I'm coming in, I usually like to switch to this view. Same thing when I'm taking off. If I take off and then raise the gear, I like watching the gear go up. So I'm really glad that the developer added this view in there. I think all developers should have a view like this, unless of course there's too much obstruction underneath your aircraft to really warrant a view like this. And then we have this view where you've got a lovely view of the rear of the engine, port side engine there, which is cool with the jet exhaust coming out. And this would be great for like approaches and so on. We'll switch to a lot of these views during flight as well, same as I always do. And then finally we have this view. Now this view I'm not so hot about, but that is mostly because of this. See, this right here is a very prime example why all developers should test their aircraft in VR. Were this aircraft tested in VR, you could tell that there is a broken seam here. This is why you need us VR people, because we look over things with a fine-tooth comb and we can see all the various flaws and inconsistencies. But now that I've made you aware of that, hopefully you can fix that. It also appears on the other engine as well too. But we really wouldn't have noticed it had I not been able to come to this view and really get up close and personal with it. Alright, we're going to set it back to here. We'll put it on a BelGeode landing cam when we're ready to take off. But for now, let's go inside and we'll see if we can get this bad boy started here. Okay, so welcome to the office. Alright, first things first. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff. For those of you who like your analog gauges, you're never going to find it in this one. This thing is ultra modern. It has all the bells and whistles. It is fully automated. There's just so much in this aircraft that is high tech. And actually, I'm going to set our center display here to that. So you can see we've already got the map and all of that good jazz here. We've got our instrument gauges and of course all our control settings and whatnot. Everything is there. We're currently running on external power. You can see that says it is on. And these two guys right here, these are going to be your main panels that you're going to use to interact with the aircraft. So on the left side is stuff primarily geared more towards navigation. So your flight route, your map settings, all of that good jazz, traffic, whatnot. The right side, however, are for more of the features of the aircraft itself. Like right now, the page that I'm on will allow me to close both cargo doors. So you can see one in front just closed, and we can also close the passenger door there. So that's coming up now. And if we switch it back to the front page or the first page, you'll notice that we've got little icons for each passenger in here. So right now I've got two in the back, I've got one in the center, and I've got what I assume would be the flight attendant because it's a sideways seat, kind of like a jump seat, and then of course our two pilots. This is what I'm talking about when I say there's an area of opportunity. If we had models, people models, including the Asobo co-pilot and pilot, linked to these icons, then when I say, for example, click on the jump seat to get rid of the flight attendant model should disappear. We shouldn't be able to see it whether in VR or 2D. But if I click on that seat there, all of a sudden, whatever passenger is sitting in that seat, we should be able to see them. And the same thing for the luggage. As long as we've got luggage in the back, we should be able to see luggage in the back. You see what I'm saying here? So that's kind of what I'm talking about when I say areas of opportunity. So I'm hoping that the developer will take a look at that and see what they can do to implement it. All right, while we're here, let's go ahead and set up some stuff before we start up here. All right, I'm going to go to the performance page. And in the performance page, this is a nifty little thing that you can do. Since we've already set up our flight plan through the default Microsoft Flight Simulator flight plan page, we can go fuel and payload, and you will notice that we can set our zero weights. So we'll just click that, and you'll see it says get from sim. So it's going to get all the information that we put in the flight planner page. So there we go. We can just go down the list here and hit get from sim. It'll tell us how many passengers we've got, And we'll keep going down. We'll go get from sim. And there's our fuel done. And I don't even think we need to do anything on this page, but you can see that we've got the check mark there, so that's pretty much good. So then it takes us to our V-Speeds page, and now it can calculate it by just choosing Get from Sim. So you can see what it says right there. So V1 is going to be 109, VR is about 114, and V2 is about 118, 119-ish. And then, of course, we also have our speeds for approach and landing. So we're looking about 118 and 113. Pretty cool stuff. So that's it. We're pretty much set up. All right. Now, other thing that we can do, we can go to this, which is our aircraft systems. Now with the aircraft systems, you can see on the left side of the PFD here, this is our status screen. So that tells us what's on, what's open, so on and so forth. You can pretty much see that. Pretty much everything in this bird is automatic. So the lights, for example, if you see they say purple, it will tell us which lights are on and which ones are being controlled automatically. We can, of course, influence that by simply going here, going to external lights. You see it says norm, which basically means automatic. You can set stuff to on or off manually. Like, for example, let's turn on our taxi lights. So now it says on, and you'll notice taxi lights went from purple to blue. So pretty neat. We'll put it back on norm for now. All right. So we are pretty much ready for a startup. I just want to cycle through some of the other pages to make sure we've got enough electricity and fuel and whatnot. Okay, aircraft systems, ice protection. If you look on the PFD on that side there, you can see everything green is whatever's activated. Hydraulics, looks like they're good. Fuel, oh, we've got plenty for this trip. Electrical system, 25.4 volts. Okay, so we should be good enough for an engine start. And environmental, which is going to be our temperatures and cabin pressure. All of that appears normal. And finally, we'll put it back to status. Okay, now we are ready for an engine start. Forgive me if I sniffle, by the way. I'm still having allergy issues. Okay, so now in order to start this puppy, it is ridiculously easy. So I'm just going to go through the process really quick, and then I will show you it in action. So we've got two start buttons here. When we click each start button, green circle appears around the start button. Once it reaches probably around 10-ish on the gauges here, we're going to pull this lever to its idle position. So let's put that into practice. So there we go. We've hit the start button, and we're watching as this gauge comes up. You can see it says 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. Once it hits 10, we're going to hit this. And you do need to pull it up into position. So there we go. We got a good start on engine 1. And looks like she's idling nicely. Let's go ahead with engine 2. Watch as the gauge goes up. Now, while this is going on, our ground power unit has also turned itself off because we do have enough power to sustain the aircraft. All right, so we'll get this one up. Both engines are on. Okay, so our generators should already be on. We will need our battery on, however. I should have turned that on before. So that is now on. Generators are on, so everything's looking good there. We do have cabin AC or cabin power. So we can turn that on as well. All right, and I'm going to set my CDI to GPS. We're also going to set our altimeter. There we go. Looking good, looking good. All right, I love it. I see green lights on everything. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. I'm going to select our altitude while I'm waiting here. So we're going to put that up to about 20,000 feet, or Angels 20, as the fighter pilots like to say. And that's going to be our cruise altitude for today. Now, this takeoff, I believe we need to go to runway 9 9. So eastbound takeoff into the sun. And we're going to head over the coast near Leh and then begin our turn to the south. Now I do have Kara disabled, so I will need to pop open that menu and turn her on. Okay. We should also get our oxygen on, so oxygen supply, push for on. Both of these are set to normal, which is where they should be. Anti-ice, we can probably turn that on after we take off, but you can see all of our anti-ice functions are on the left side there. Okay, let's do a quick check outside, make sure everything's good. We'll get our flaps to takeoff position, and then I'll activate Kara for the pushback and the taxi. All right, so let's go ahead and drop our flaps down 1. There we go. And it looks like everything appears to be set. Now, I may need to manually change some of the light settings because I'm not sure what the parameters are for them to change automatically. And I'm not too keen on the whole flashing business that they're doing right now. So let's head back in the cockpit. And we'll go to the lights page. So external lights. Taxi, we're going to turn you on. Landing, we'll leave you off. Recognition lights, you know what? We will turn recognition lights off for now. Ice protection should be set to norm. I don't think that's going to change anything. Strobe, we'll leave you off for now. Navigation lights should be on. And what is that? Oh, lights. Okay, beacon, we'll leave you on norm because you should be on anyway. And logo light, that's on. All right, so we can change all of those parameters, and you'll notice a whole bunch of things here decided to go blue, meaning that they are under manual control. Recognition, you know what, I'm going to put the recognition back on norm. There we go, so that's off. Okay, now we are ready for Kara, and it just feels weird not actually having Kara here to talk to, but first world problems, right? All right, so AI communications on.
Nadzab ground, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, requesting pushback.
Okay, thank you, Kara.
November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, pushback request accepted.
So here we go. Our lady is going to come to push us back. And Microsoft, it's been almost 2 years and you still have not corrected the pushback. Why does the pushback vehicle still go inside of your aircraft in order to push back? Come on now. Come on. Fix it. We're going to go to the outside view while she pushes back, and I'll show you exactly what I mean.
Nadzab ground, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, requesting the end of pushback.
November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, request to end pushback received.
Nadzab ground, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, with Sierra request taxi for takeoff east departure.
Okay.
November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, taxi to and hold short of runway 09er using taxiway Bravo Alpha. Contact tower on 121.7 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 09er via taxiway Bravo Alpha Alpha Golf Bravo.
So while we're waiting for Kara to finish getting us clearance to taxi, which it looks like she just did, I am going to go ahead and set up our speed because we're going to use flight level change, or FLC, in order to get the altitude. So I'm going to set us up for about 240 knots. And that should be sufficient to get us where we would like to go. Now, I do notice that this knob's a little fiddly in VR. Not quite sure how to rectify that, short of setting up a knob on my Virtual HOTAS to actually act as the speed bug there. But we've got it now. It's on 240 knots, so we're good to go. Taxi lights are on, beacon is on, nav is on. It says my landing lights are on too. I don't want my landing lights on. Thought I turned that off. I guess it's on. Okay, well, we'll work with it. All right, so we're ready to taxi out, folks, and we've got to go directly behind us. So we'll get the parking brakes off, which is that little elevated bar there, which is no longer elevated. We'll give her a little bit of go-go juice. There we go. Say goodbye to Nadzab as we head to runway 9. You can see our flight path there. And again, this thing is so ridiculously easy to use. That's the beauty of a very light jet. There's just so much packed into it that, you know, it really is easy. It really is a dream to fly, especially in a flight sim such as this, where half the time you want to take a look outside and check out the scenery around you. It is perfect for that sort of thing. Now, bear in mind, I would not recommend that you do any kind of aerobatics or shenanigans, as I like to call it, with this thing, but suffice to say, this thing does fly kind of like a fighter jet. I say kind of. Obviously, you really should fly it like a fighter jet, but you could if you wanted to. That's the important part, right? All right, let me make sure everything else is good to go. So Kara's got the comms. She's got the transponder. I will have the autopilot controls and the lights and ice protection as needed. Looks like it's a pretty fair day today in Papua New Guinea, so I'm doubtful as to whether or not I'm really going to need ice protection, but we'll see. If we get any caution and warnings popping up there, we may have to adjust for that. Incidentally, the reason why you're seeing those taxiway lights in the center, this is a default airport. If anybody is feeling froggy enough out there and wants to make an add-on, whether free or pay, for Nadzab Airport in Papua New Guinea, please let me know and I will advertise the heck out of it, because this is one of my favorite little airports to go to. Aside from which, it's in such a remote part of the world that most people can't find me. I like that. This is the Hermit's Airport right here. All right, we got a little ways to go to get there, so I'm going to go to the outside view really quick. Okay, so there's our runway, and we are just about at the end of the runway. So doing good. Now you may notice that the trees and whatnot will appear a little bit sharper in the final video. That is OpenXR doing that. One of the things that I notice with my flight sim videos is sometimes they do appear slightly blurry. So OpenXR is designed to combat that, make it sharper in VR, but of course it will also make it sharper in the final video due to the fact that we are recording straight from the Oculus mirror. I'm still not sure how I feel about that, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, Kara, do your thing, please.
Nadzab Tower, November 70, Alpha Golf
lights.
Bravo, at runway 09er, ready for departure, east departure.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo altimeter 29er decimal 861076 at 9er. Departure to the east approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 09er.
Cleared for takeoff runway 09er, Alpha Golf Bravo.
Okay. So it says taxi landing are on, recognition's off, ice is on, strobe is on, beacon and nav are both on. I think everything's set. And we did get clearance, so thank you, Kara. I'm going to set our anti-ice on. Okay. And she will take care of the comms for me, so let's go ahead and get the parking brakes off. Check for traffic. Nothing going out. Nothing coming in. Very nice, very nice. Now, we should be at a neutral trim already. I am going to raise that just a slight bit. I don't want it to be too much, but I do want enough trim for us to keep positive rate of climb. And it's going to be a straight out departure here, so runway 9. Looking good, looking good. Right about there, we'll line her up and we'll brake. Okay folks, you know what it's time for. Brakes down, throttles up. We may get little caution and warning lights. I'm not 100% certain if that is normal operation or what it's trying to tell us, but we're going to go with it. Brakes off, power full. Now the ground handling on this thing is actually pretty good considering how low to the ground it is. I need to remember my V speeds though. What was VR? 114 thereabouts? I may have missed something on the PFD in order to show it. But, whoo, look at that. We just took off. It's like a rocket ship. That is so cool. I love that.
Alpha Golf Bravo, continue for east departure.
Wow.
Nadzab Tower, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, continue for east departure.
Okay, let's go to the outside view and get our landing gear up. Okay, gear is up, and I'm going to pull the power back a little bit here. Let's see, what are we saying here with this warning? I haven't quite figured that out. But suffice to say, we are on our way. We're a little bit to the left of where we should be, and we are climbing rather sprightly.
Leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
I'm going to go ahead and set up our autopilot
Nadzab
now.
Tower, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo frequency change. Nadzab approach November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo is type 3 miles east of Nadzab, 2,400 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, Nadzab approach. Squawk 1252.
Squawk 1252, Alpha Golf Bravo.
Alpha Golf Bravo radar contact 5 miles east of Nadzab, 2,300 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace. Maintain on navigation.
Okay.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace, Alpha Golf Bravo.
All right. Oh, the yaw damper. You know what? I had the yaw damper off. I think it's on now, so that should be good. That's probably what that alert was that was giving us there. Okay, but now that we're up, it should automatically turn off our taxi and landing lights. I'm not sure what's going on with the recognition lights there, but I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because it's starting to annoy me here. And let's make sure everything else is set to norm. Okay, looks like it's all set to norm with the exception of the recognition lights, so I'm going to go ahead and switch that again. See if it behaves itself. Nope, it keeps turning itself off and on. What's up with that? I don't think there's any failures modeled in this thing, but kind of curious. I do want my taxi and landing lights off though. Let's see, it says on. Okay, this could be a bug or it could be a feature. I am not 100% certain as to which one it is. But I do know that we are stable at 232 knots in our climb. You can see we're climbing pretty sprightly, about 22 or 2100 feet per minute on our way to 20,000 feet. So yeah, we are looking good. And we'll take a quick look at Papua here, or Papua New Guinea. You can see the city of Lae directly ahead. That's where our first waypoint is, and we're going to be hanging right and following the coast before cutting across the spine of Papua New Guinea. So I think now would be a great time for us to go back to the outside view and do our little cinematic thing, and we'll come back in a moment for the turn.
Alpha Golf Bravo contact, Port Moresby Center on 118.1. Good day.
118.1 for Alpha Golf Bravo. Port Moresby Center, November 70, Alpha Golf Bravo, 8,600 feet.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Port Moresby Center altimeter 29.86, continue as planned.
Alright, so we are just over 10,000 and it still says my taxi and landing lights are on. Why though? They should be off. Yeah, I can't seem to turn them off. Not quite sure what is going on there, but yeah, that could be a problem. Alright, let's see. Oh, we do have a checklist, by the way, so I could have followed the checklist to the letter, but you know me. Whenever I'm doing these videos, checklists are the last thing that I'm thinking about. And I know I should change that, but whatever. Alright, but we can, on our left side here, put the flight plan up so we can see where we're headed. So we just passed Lariad, which is the waypoint over by Lae. And we are heading to, what is that, AYQI, I think? It'll tell us right here. No, AYXI. And then from AYXI, we're going to go to AYTI, which is Tapini Airport. And by the way, Orbix, please bring Tapini to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Come to think of it, bring your Port Moresby too. And then we've got Vangi, which is going to be our transition waypoint on the way down. And of course, all the various waypoints along the approach. Now, I'll be honest with you folks, I don't know how to put the altitudes in there just yet. I'm still trying to learn this plane. This is probably like the 4th time that I've flown it in this week. And without the manual, it is kind of tricky to guess as to what everything does. So hopefully that will be coming at some point in time soon, and that way we will be able to tell what it is that we're supposed to do in this thing. Alright, let me see how we're doing on gas. Got about half a tank in the main tanks and full wing tanks, so we're pretty good. Now it should automatically switch over if I'm not too mistaken.
Kilo Charlie Romeo contact Nadzab approach on 118.6.
We'll see.
Good day.
All right, in the interim, how are we doing here? We are at 12,000, almost 13,000 feet. And yeah, everything
Going
does
to
look good.
118.6 Kilo Charlie Romeo.
Really concerned about these lights though. I don't know what's going on with them. Set that to norm and see what it does. It's still going on and off. Set these to norm, see what that does. Yeah, they're still set to on. Okay, something is definitely broken there and I have no idea what it is. So developer, if you are watching, you may want to let us know if perhaps it is user error or a bug with the aircraft. Either way though, I've got my throttle set to about 74-75%, so we are purring like a kitten and going over some of the highest portions of Papua New Guinea. So now it's time to go back outside and show you the scenery, and we'll use the static camera shot from above the plane. Alright, let's see how we're doing on time and distance here. So we've got 6 minutes and a half until we get to Alpha Yankee X-Ray India, about 32 miles. We're going to veer slightly to the left to head towards Tapini. We should be about at cruise by that point in time. We're at 15,000 right now. There is no button that I could find for changing over automatically to standard barometric pressure. Although there is a button here that appears to be from hectopascals to inches. No, it still says 29.85. What's up with that? I don't know. I really don't know. And that's just to change our barometric pressure, which reminds me, let me get the key for that. 29.901. We'll need to change that to 29.902 once we get over 18,000 feet. Oxygen is on and running. Good thing we checked that ahead of time. Alright. And the cabin seems to be okay. We can always check our environmental and we'll see what it says. So it says we are at what? Cabin 23 centigrade. That's comfortable. Actual 23. Cockpit, same thing, 23. Okay, so everything's pretty cool. And it doesn't look like we have any icing issues, so I'm feeling positive about that. We'll just check the ice protection really quick though. So we now have our engine anti-ice on, our windshield defogger on, and our pitot heat on. You can see all those items in green there. I don't see the wing de-icing on, but then we really shouldn't need it because we don't have icing on the wing. Alright, and let me check our electrical. 25.4 volts, so the alternators are doing their alternatory thing. Okay, everything's looking good there. Fuel. A little under half a tank in the main tank. Alright, we're doing good. We are doing good. So yeah, as far as this plane goes, I really don't have too many complaints. Like I said, my most major complaint is going to be with the lack of people models and cargo models. But other than that, I really don't have too much to complain about with this bird. And incidentally, I do believe that this marks a turning point or a significant point in the sim. I do believe this aircraft is the very first bizjet by a third party brought into this sim. And by bizjet, of course, I mean like PAYWARE bizjet that's officially on the marketplace. I'm not counting anything that you might find on flightsim.to that is not in the marketplace. But yeah, that's a pretty sterling accomplishment there for FlightFX bringing this bird in. Now, I have heard that Cockspur is also working on a bizjet. I believe they are working on the Cessna Mustang, the Citation Mustang, which is one of my favorites, actually. So I'm hoping they do a really good job on that. I'm looking forward to showing that off as well. But yeah, this is really cool. This is what I think of when I think of bizjets. I love these VLJs, these very light jets. I'm hoping that Lionheart Creations will bring their Epic Victory over as well, and perhaps Carinado or somebody will bring the Phenom in, and that would be awesome to see as well, because those kinds of jets, even though I'm not a huge airliner fan, technically these aren't airliners. They're their own type of animal, which I do enjoy flying when I want to go a little bit faster, but still be somewhat in the GA realm. So if you are like me, this is definitely one of those ones that you should consider purchasing. All right, looks like we are getting close. We just passed the lake. Can't really see it from here. It's directly underneath us. So we have 1 minute and some change till we get to AYXI. Now my plan is once we hit Tapini, which is at the very top of the navigation map right there, that's when we're going to start bringing her down. We need to come down to about 2,000 feet. And if we're lucky, the weather should hold and we should be able to come in the same direction that we're facing instead of having to get into the pattern and, you know, make a left hand or a right hand UE to come in. Yeah, look at that. That's just awesome. And reminder, this is all default. I don't have anything modifying anything in this part of the world. This is all default Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's pretty good. I don't care what anybody says. That's pretty dang good. And considering the fact that the satellite information for areas in the world like this is not as great as, say, the United States or Europe, they did a pretty good job trying to represent Papua New Guinea here. And that's one of the reasons why I keep coming back to this area. Granted, if we have server issues, which it seems like a lot of us have been having server issues with Microsoft Flight Simulator over the last few weeks, obviously that can create its own set of problems, and we won't see things the way we would like to. But don't forget, folks, you can always use the local cache. So if I wanted to, I could cache all of Papua New Guinea so that I have that in case I'm stuck flying offline. So don't forget that feature exists. All right, looks like we're turning to Tapini, so we'll go outside and I'll give my voice a rest for a few minutes. When we come back in, we'll kind of chill in the back. of the things that I like is the fact that this is a VLJ. It does get affected by winds and turbulence, so you'll see her bobbing up and down and left to right and so on and so forth. Granted, the effect is not nearly as exacerbated in VR due to the fact that we are in VR and my head is moving naturally anyway. But if you have something like, say, the butt kicker attached to your seat, you can actually feel the vibrations whenever you're going through turbulence and stuff. So it does help a little bit. Although the resulting video is probably not going to show it because it's only going to show my natural head movements as I speak. As soon as my jaw moves, so does the camera. Alright, but we're going to hop to the back here, so we'll leave Kara flying us around here. Yeah, see, this is why I need people. I need to see a flight attendant, like, right there. Alright, and we're going to pull ourselves back into this seat here. I don't know why, but this is my favorite seat. It's on the left side of the aircraft here. Maybe it's because it's on the opposite side of the emergency exit. But it's so cool to sit back here in VR, knowing the aircraft is doing fine on its own, and just chill, just relax. If I wanted to, I could put on some nice music. I could pour myself a glass of rum and something. Probably rum and chocolate milk. That's one of my favorite things to drink. Don't judge me, people. It tastes good. Don't knock it till you tried it. But yeah, this is what it's all about right here. I could do this every day. But yeah, as I said before, there's not a lot that I can really say about this bird that I think hasn't already been said. It's very well done, and considering the fact that, again, this is his very first aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator, I cannot imagine that this was easy to put together. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was a daunting task, considering the fact that the SDK is notoriously under-documented, so being able to model all of this stuff, texture it, put it in the sim, apply the physics to it, and get it to work right is no easy feat. So I definitely got to tip my purple hat to Marwan for putting this all together. With that having said, now that you've taken the first step, it is definitely going to improve from here. So as long as you consider some of the stuff that we've been telling you as feedback, and perhaps implement some of it, I'm pretty sure that you are going to go far, both with this bird and any of your future projects. And we're here to support you as well. If you need a VR perspective, feel free to reach out to people like myself or Steve, aka VR Flight Sim Guy, or Jose, the VR pilot. Feel free to reach out to us and, pick our brains as far as, how the VR community has been interacting with this bird and what we would like to see, because honestly, anything that helps us helps everybody else anyway. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. With that said, I did modify your cameras.cfg file because you don't have the proper setup for VR Pilot, so it defaults to the default 2D Pilot, which, according to the initial PBH that you've got in the cameras.cfg, kind of has our heads tilted forward like this. And I'm exaggerating it to be dramatic here, but just to kind of prove the point. This is the angle that we would see under normal circumstances, which is, of course, not correct. In VR, everything has to be zeroed so that we're looking directly straight ahead, because our heads will do the rest. So that's a minor thing. I'm sure you can fix that. I could probably help you with that as well. So I'm offering my services, if you're watching this video, on how to get that properly set up. And then you'll have that knowledge for future aircraft that you decide to work on. All right, let's see, now that we're back in the cockpit, exactly where we are and where we're going. Oh, we're just about there. We're just in time. Okay, so let's quickly go to the outside view as we make this turn here, and then we'll prepare to come down to 2,000 feet. Okay, now one thing I neglected to tell you is as far as your throttles go, even though we do have FLC to help us maintain a set speed on our climb, once you're in cruise, you need to keep an eye on your throttle because it can get a little out of control. There is technically no auto throttle on this thing. I'm going to pull our power back though. You can see the throttle is coming back. And we're going to set it to just shy of 50%. And we'll also alter our target altitude. So we're at 20,000 right now. I'm going to bring it all the way down to 2,000. Since we really wouldn't use flight level change to get down to 2,000, we're going to use the VS, or the vertical speed. And that should get us down rather sprightly. I'll probably have to put this thing on full idle because it's kind of a rocket ship and the speed will get away from you if you happen to have your throttles up. So there we go, 2,000, that's what we're looking for. And we're going to go VS. And we'll start dropping her down. I'm going to set our vertical speed close to about 2,000 feet per minute descent. And I'm going to put our throttles back to the idle position. One thing I haven't mentioned is the audio. The audio on this thing is superb. I have no idea how he did it, but it is incredible. It feels amazing, especially with the butt kicker going. I love the whine of the engines as well. That is pretty well done. So we're going to pull it all the way back to idle. And that way I can drop our vertical speed a little more. We'll get it to about just over 2,000 feet per minute because I want to do this quickly here, folks. I want to do this quickly. We only have 24 miles until we reach our transition point of Vangi. So that's about 5 minutes away. Can we drop down to 2,000 feet in 5 minutes? I don't know. But we are over the largest portions of the mountains, so I'm okay with that. And as you can see, there is the 2 waypoints that we're looking for along our approach vector. Now I can change the map. If you look at the left side here, where the mouse cursor is, that will allow me to zoom in and zoom out. So we're going to set it to that, which is about 10 nautical miles range. And we're going to keep her coming in. Alright, as far as the lights, everything's automatic. It says everything's on, so you know what? I'm not even going to mess with that. I have no idea what's going on with the lights, and I don't have time to mess with it, so we'll just leave it be. But either way, we are definitely coming in now, so as soon as we get over these foothills, we should be in the flat country that is the area where Port Moresby is. There's a lot of history with Port Moresby. As we know, that is probably the biggest holdout area from World War II, where the Japanese could not conquer Port Moresby, but had they been able to take it over, that would have been the stepping stone for them conquering, or at least attempting to conquer, Australia. However, the Australians, primarily, did put up a huge fight, and back then they had like the P-40s at their disposal, and they were able to hold off the Japanese long enough until the Americans could come in here and bolster their forces. So between the Americans and the Australians, Port Moresby was saved, and it became the huge metropolis that it is today. So yeah, a little bit of history of this area here back in World War II. I don't know, there's just something about this island that always appeals to me. I keep coming back, no matter what. This is my absolute favorite place to fly. You would think it would be like Jamaica or someplace like that, but no, there's just something fascinating about Papua New Guinea. Probably due to the fact that I've never been there in real life. But yeah, I just love coming back to it. Alright, but now that we are in a pretty sprightly descent, we're already at 13,000 feet, let's quickly go back to the outside view and we'll set up the Belgio Landing Cam. All right, so we're at Angels 12 or 12,000 feet. We're coming down nice and steady. And since we do have the throttles pulled all the way back, we're stable right around 200-ish knots. Now, we're going to need to start thinking about flaps and gear. And thankfully, we've got a little placard up here. So you'll see our max gear operation speed is 200 knots. Max flaps for takeoff is 200. Max flaps for landing is 160. And max maneuvering 200. So there we go. And of course it does say this plane is certified in the normal category and must be operated in compliance with the airplane flight manual, which of course we don't have one. No aerobatic maneuvers included spins are approved. Okay, so you heard it. It's official. No shenanigans. Don't do it. Not with this aircraft. Sparky Sven, I'm looking at you. Watch, he's probably going to do it and put it on his YouTube channel now. All right, well, we are coming in. Let's see how much distance we've got left. So from Vangie, we've got less than 20 miles to YPYWF, which is the beginning of the star. You can do ILS approaches. I'm deliberately not putting anything in the procedures. We're just flying this I don't want to say manually, because obviously we're following a flight plan, but we're kind of semi-manual. We've put in the proper waypoints, and once we pass this last one, YPY November Foxtrot, I'm going to turn the autopilot off altogether and hand fly us in. We should get clearance for runway 14 at that point in time. If not, I will press the issue with Kara. All right, but we are at 8,200 right now. We're still coming down steadily. I'm going to zoom this in one more notch. Oh, that's zooming out. So mouse scroll wheel down or towards yourself will zoom in. Mouse scroll wheel away from you or up will zoom out. All right, look at that. That's all default, folks. That is all default. It just looks so pristine. I love it. I love it. I just need more airports for Papua New Guinea. So, like I said, Orbix, Tapini, please. And, of course, Port Moresby. And if anyone's feeling froggy enough, please do a Nadzab for me. I would greatly appreciate it. And while you're at it, do Finchhaven. I'll show off Finchhaven in another video. But yeah. Such a beautiful place, and this is why I choose it all the time. All right, let's see how we're doing now. 6,000, still at 200, so we're still a little too fast to be pulling out flaps and gear and all of that, but let's go back to the outside view and at least take a look at the scenery below us. Now see, this is where OpenXR really shines. You got that clarity and that sharpness in like the trees and whatnot from afar. You can see all of that in VR, and it is better than having blurry blobs all over the place. So I will give OpenXR credit for that. But like I said, I'm still trying to fine-tune my settings for the Rift S. I mentioned earlier a lot of the settings videos that are out there, which huge thanks to all the people that have made settings videos.
Alpha Golf Bravo,
none of them are for my headset.
Radar service terminated squawk 7000.
Say what?
Frequency change approved.
Why are you doing that? We're supposed
Port
to be coming
Moresby
in.
Center, November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, is type 2 3 miles northwest of Port Moresby 3,100 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
November 70 Alpha Golf Bravo, Port Moresby Center. Squawk 6712.
Okay, Kara? No.
Squawk 6712 Alpha Golf Bravo.
We need to be getting clearance to land. Hold on here, folks. We got the squawk code, but we don't have the clearance to land.
Port Moresby Tower, Cessna Papa 2 Echo Quebec Alpha at runway tree 2 right, ready for departure IFR to Yankee Mike Papa Charlie. Cessna Papa 2 Echo Quebec Alpha altimeter 29.78 when calm. Cleared for takeoff runway tree 2 right.
Not quite sure what's going on there, but we should have gotten clearance to come in and land.
Cleared for takeoff runway tree 2 right, Cessna Papa 2 Echo Quebec Alpha.
Alright, I'm going to get our flaps down to takeoff. Either way, we're coming in on runway 14, which is the opposite of the runway that they just cleared that Cessna to take off from. Because I do know that the winds are out of 106, so we need to keep that in mind. And let us head back to our V-speeds. Let me see, where are my V-speeds? Nope. Performance. Yeah, it does say show. Okay, here we go, speed bugs. So we're looking for 118 and 113 for our approach. So 118 is where we're heading to first, and pretty much where we need to be, but apparently Moresby doesn't want to talk to us anymore. Huh. Okay, Kara, well, we're coming in. They will just have to deal with it. Let me make sure everything is looking good, and we'll also go ahead and get our gear out since we are pretty much where we need to be, kind of, sort of. No, we're a little too early for gear. We'll wait until we pass this first waypoint on our way to the second waypoint, and then we'll go ahead and drop the gear. But we will go to the outside view just to check out the scenery around us. Okay, I can definitely see the runway off in the distance, so I'm going to go ahead and drop our gear. We'll stay inside for that. We don't actually need to go back outside to take a look at it. But you can see everything's yellow. We're waiting for 3 green. There we go, 1, 2, 3. Lights are still all on, that's fine. Not going to worry about the lights at all. And let's see, we're about to pass the first of the 2 waypoints on the approach. Once we get to the second waypoint, I will remind you I'm going to turn off our autopilot and we'll go ahead and bring her in. Let's get our flaps down full. So the aircraft will adjust accordingly. Try to level us out. We're aiming for, what, 118 knots, so we're at 120 right now. 119, 118, there we go. So we'll adjust our throttle accordingly. Try and keep us where we need to be, and the aircraft is bringing itself up.
Contact Port Moresby Center on 118.1. Good day.
Wait, that wasn't for us, was it, Kara? Nope, that was that Cessna. Okay, well, looks like we're going to be landing without clearance here because Moresby has decided they don't want to talk to us.
Cessna Echo Quebec Alpha.
Like, at all.
Port Moresby Center Cessna Papa 2 Echo Quebec Alpha is at 1,000 feet climbing flight level 260. Cessna Papa 2 Echo Quebec Alpha Port Moresby Center altimeter 29.77 continue as planned.
Alright, well, we're coming in. Hope you don't mind. Alright, so we have 1 minute 10 seconds, which is about 2.3 miles to go until we can start bringing her in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the autopilot from now. Okay, so we are now under manual control. We're still at about 117 knots, 118 roughly. I will warn you, this aircraft does get a little bit floaty, so keep that in mind when you're coming in. That may or may not be an issue. Look at that beautiful scenery. Oh, that's so awesome. Love it, man. I love it. All right, I'm going to pull the throttle back, and that should start us in a descent here. We're looking for about 400 feet per minute descent rate. So 113 is kind of what we're aiming for here. Like I said, she will float down the runway. So if you have the option, pick the longer runway. No doubt they're going to yell at us for landing without clearance, but you know what? I don't care. I've been flying for about an hour now. Kind of want to get down on the deck.
November Hotel Delta, you are 50 miles south. Climb and maintain 2,100 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 14 right approach.
Alright, I'm going to pull the power way back here because we're a little high on glide slope.
Climb and maintain 2,100 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 14 right approach Beechcraft November Hotel Delta.
See, now they've changed. They're going 14 right. We're coming in 14 left. Speed 115, still a little high on glide slope. But other than that, looks like we're good to go, folks. So strap yourselves in. We're coming in. Stable at 113. 400 feet per minute descent. Whoops, 700. Oh, look at that. I love those little houses there. That's pretty cool. Alright, so here we go. Can we get her down without floating so much? We're about to find out. Don't forget you do have speed brakes in this thing. They are in the tail. They basically pop out to the side like rose petals. And now we're below the glide slope. Really? Let's give her some power here. There's our middle marker. And we'll start bringing her in. Nice and easy. She's really easy, but she's also really responsive. Right down to the numbers. Chopping power, flare, and just hold it right there. And eventually, she'll decide she wants to come to the deck. That's a hands-off approach there. I literally took my hands off of the throttle and the stick. I only have my feet on the rudder pedals right now. Not too shabby at all. Almost effortless on that approach. Alright, let's give it some brakes here. I forgot to engage the speed brakes, but that's okay because I'm pretty sure we're good. Oh, don't. Okay. Whew, almost missed our exit. Alright, let's go ahead and get the flaps up. So at this point in time, ATC seems to have bugged out, but that's okay as long as we can make it to our parking spot. We're pretty much done with this video. So just to remind you, the aircraft that I've been showcasing, this is not a preview. This aircraft is already out by Marwan Gharib, distributed through FlightFX. It is available now. You can find it in the marketplace. You can find it on the FlightFX website. The link, of course, will be in the video description below. But yeah, this is the Hondajet, the HA-420. It is remarkable. And like I said, the only things that I have a problem with are the fact that there are no people models or cargo models. Seriously, folks, all of you developers that are watching, take a look at what our buddies from Milviz have done with their 310R. I think that should be the standard. If you can strive to make all of your aircraft have at least similar features or close to the exact features that Milviz have done with that particular bird, I think everybody's going to be happy. So let that be the litmus test for you, as it were. All right, we're going to pull up next to this nifty little Boeing 247 Delta, which I still have yet to show on the channel, but I will do at some point in time. And then we'll call our little test video done. As always, I am going to thank you for watching. This has been BelGeode, and we of course have been in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this has been World Update 9. We did hear that we will actually get World Update 10 before we get Sim Update 10. So they're going to be flip-flopping things on us. For those of you who typically expect me to post my usual update day posts on Facebook, I'm going to be flip-flopping things on you because we're getting the World Update before we get the Sim Update, which is not typically the way that they do it. But we'll deal with that when that gets here. That should be later in the month of June. Alright, right about there should be good. And let's get our parking brakes on. Okay, so thank you as always for watching, folks. This has been BelGeode. I've been flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'll remind you again, the aircraft that we're showing off here is the Hondajet by FlightFX, Marwan Gharib. I think that's your name. I'm sure I just butchered it every single time, but sorry. I'll correct myself in the comments. But thank you. Thank you so much for designing this aircraft. This is exactly the kind of thing that this flight sim needed, and I can't wait to see what else you're going to work on in the future. If you, the viewer, have enjoyed what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will be back at some point in time soon with some more Flight Simulator goodness. All right, let's go ahead and power her down. Before I do that, I'm going to set it up for the doors. That way we can open everything up once we get the power off. All right, left engine's off, so I'm going to open this door. There's our front cargo there. And we'll get this off. Okay, so now we also have ground power, so we can go ahead and put that together. Open that up. And Betty, we'll go ahead and shut you up.
Warning, okay.
Okay, thank you, Betty. I appreciate you. Alrighty, folks. That will do it for me. So this is BelGeode signing out. I hope you have enjoyed my first look at the Hondajet. And if you do decide to pick this up, happy flying to you. Fly safe. Be careful out there and enjoy the heck out of it, because I can guarantee you, I sure am. All right, folks. I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Ciao.